I say this as someone divorced. So I'm not. So Jacob now has his blessing. Notice, he wasn't really given a blessing at all. He was given a new name. But that's his blessing. That's the best he's going to get. And now he decides, he figures out what to do with Esau, who's still standing on the other side of the river there with his 400 armed men. So he starts to send forward gifts, one at a time, a bit at a time, because Jacob is always scheming. He's figuring out how to do this, how to play this. He's not going to go confront Esau, he's going to take his time, he's going to work it out. He's going to play this out, he's going to be diplomatic. Right? Jacob is not a confronter, Jacob is a ducker and weaver. Esau, meanwhile, you know Esau, oh come on, let's meet you, I came here to meet you. Right? And meanwhile, this kind of endless collection of camels and goats and sheep and stuff all coming his way. And he's going, for goodness sake, where the hell is Jacob? I came here to Jacob. Right? Just surrounded by all this livestock, right? And eventually, Jacob finally kind of comes through the crowd of creatures. And there he stands in front of Esau. And you know, if you ever knew Esau, Esau does exactly what you would expect him to do. He falls on Jacob's neck and he weeps. It's his brother. I know I said all that stuff. Utterly sentimental, existential Esau. It's his brother. I haven't seen him for 21 years. For goodness sake. Oh, I didn't mean all that. Oh, the armed men, yeah, I know. And he says to Jacob, come home with me. Come on, I'd love to show you where I live. Show you my tents or whatever it is he's got. Right, come home with me. Jacob, bless him, says, lovely idea, lovely. Really like to do that. Just got to organise a few things first. Not sure if I can, I'll have to check the diary, but I will, I'd love to. You go ahead, I'll see if I can come along. Jacob never takes things at face value. Never, ever just follows the moment. Always wary, careful, planning, thinking. And he doesn't follow it. He goes back to his parents. Next time that Jacob and Esau meet, by the way, is at the point at which they bury Isaac. Together, on either side of the grave, in the same way as Isaac and Ishmael met to bury Abraham. And as you know then, Jacob has his 12 sons and at least one daughter. And they live their lives. And we see Jacob frequently now no longer the star of the story, but a contributing actor. We see one more moment, I suppose, when Jacob really has a chance to come through and fails. It's the point at which Shimon and Levi massacre the inhabitants of the town of Shechem. If you're unfamiliar with this story, I'm not going to tell it all, but approximately anyway, the prince of this place, Shechem, takes Dinah and rapes her, and then asks to marry her. And Dinah is sister, straight sister, not half sister, to Shimon and Levi. And Shimon and Levi say to Shechem, well, we can't possibly let our sister marry uncircumcised folk, so what must happen is you must get all the men in your town circumcise themselves, and if that happens, then of course we can discuss it. Shechem is obviously in love, because he says, fine, no problem, I will organise all the men in my town circumcise themselves. I think that's a lot of love, right? And quite a fair deal of obedience as well, by the way, right? So they all circumcise themselves on the third day while they're all going. In come Shimon and Levi with their swords and they slaughter them all. I mean, this is extreme by anybody's standards. When Yaakov hears about it, Jacob, towering moral character that he is, says, "This is going to cause us such a lot of trouble." Really strange, really strange. Time and again, Jacob fails to meet the moral target. Time and again, Jacob comes up with the pragmatic response, the political response, the diplomatic response, the tricky, technical response. He never does towering glory, Jacob. It's not like Abraham, who stands on a mountaintop and says, "God, I demand, I challenge." Jacob doesn't do that. He goes, "Ooh, I think it's going to be a bit tricky. I wonder how I'm going to say it." And he is, as a result of this, a really difficult character to love. And I think that a significant proportion of modern Jews would much rather Esau was our guy. What is Esau? Esau's out there, he's active, he's dynamic, he does stuff, he gets involved, he plays his part, he's passionate. Right? You know, if there were a Soviet Jewry campaign, Esau would be the guy out there. And the Israeli army, who's going to join the Israeli army? Jacob or Esau? Oh. What's Jacob doing? He's making stew. Right? Jacob is sitting in the yeshiva. Jacob's thinking complicated thoughts. Esau knows the answer. Go out and do the damn stuff. Okay, I know I marry the wrong people. I'll marry the right people. What do you want? I love my brother. I care about my father. I want my birthright. I care about the blessing. I do all that stuff. I don't understand any of it, but it really, really matters to me. You want to say Kaddish for my father? Of course I say Kaddish for my father. Okay, I know I didn't understand what it was he wanted, but it doesn't matter. I care. This is the modern Jew. But what Jacob is doing all the time is Jacob is planning and planning and planning at a level which is really unattractive. But truly, truly important. Jacob is not striving to be the moral giant. He's striving to secure the future. Jacob is constantly planning the future. I make no apologies to keep coming back to this business of outmarriage, because it really does lie in the whole business of marriage and family and parenting and grandparenting and all that stuff is right at the heart of the Jacob story and the family that surrounds it. And we know, and amongst us here, I'm sure there are people who have made really bizarre marriage choices. Right. Each of us, they may have seemed very sensible. To people observing us, they may have seemed really, really weird. Right? We make our own choices. And we make our own choices frequently on the justification that this means something to me. I mean, whose business is this? I mean, it's my life, my feelings. What about what I need? What's this got to do with you? We love each other. By the way, this "we love each other" thing, right? We have done ourselves such a disservice as the Jewish people in terms of this intermarriage thing. I don't know how it is in America. I'm sure America is very, very much more sane about this than the rest of the Jewish world. But take it from me, in the rest of the Jewish world, we consciously and unconsciously transmit a kind of stereotype, a negative stereotype of the non-Jewish world to our children. Right? The non-Jewish world, they're not like us. See, we have families.